So let's move on to the next question. If you can open the question in your PDF, right? So the question is that there are 3 points x, y, z on a number line such that x, y, z is less than 0, x, y is less than 0, and the distance between x and y is greater than the distance between x and z. And the options are z lies between x and y, z does not lie between x and y, neither 1 nor 2, z is equals to xy, none of the above. And we have to tell which of the following must be true. The key word over here is must. That must means that in any case, any possible case, it always has to be true. So this is a very important word, because in some questions you can encounter the word can. Uh, you can encounter the word can, right? Or could, or anything like that, or maybe. So in these kind of situations, they're talking about cases where sometimes it can be true. But when it says must, that means irrespective of what, it has to be true on any given situation. Okay. So just be very careful with the wordings in the exam, because it is kind of sometimes very easy, but you kind of get stuck in the question because of the particular wording, and you can get the question wrong. Okay. Okay, so firstly, it's given xyz is less than 0 and xy is less than 0, right? So now let me tell, if xy is less than 0, right? And we know xyz is less than 0. So if xy is less than 0, if this part is less than 0, and if this whole part is less than 0, that means z has to be positive, right? That means z has to be positive, because if z would have been negative, so negative into negative would have been positive. But because this is negative, so this has to be positive. This is one thing which should be very clear. So this is one conclusion that we can make, that z is greater than 0, right? Perfect. Now xy is less than 0, right? So in this case, so there are two possible cases which can be formed, right? That x is greater than 0, y is less than 0, because one has to be positive, one has to be negative. If this is negative, right? If both are positive, this will be positive. If both are negative, this will still be positive. If this is negative, then one has to be positive and the other has to be negative. So let's suppose x is greater than 0, then y has to be less than 0, and this is already confirmed that irrespective of anything, z is greater than 0. The second case can be, now x is less than 0, so y will be greater than 0 because of this, and z is anyways greater than 0, right? Okay. So now let's take a number line, right? Now let's take a number line. Let's suppose this is 0, right? We know z is greater than 0, right? I don't know where z is. Let's suppose z is somewhere over here, right? Okay. Now let's talk about this case. Let's suppose x is also greater than 0. So let's suppose x is somewhere over here, which is close to z. And y is less than 0. Let's suppose y is somewhere over here, right? The reason I made it in this way, because we were given that the distance between x and y, the distance between x and y is greater than the distance between x and z. So this is completely true, right? That the distance between x and y is greater than the distance between x and z, right? So this can be one possible case. Another case can be that this is 0, this is wait, so another case can be that maybe x is here and z is here. I don't know anything, right? And let's suppose y. So in this case also, distance between x and y, this is greater than the distance between x and z. Absolutely true, right? Perfect. Now let's see. So these both cases are possible, right? Z between x and y. That z lies between x and y. In this case, z lies between x and y? No. In this case, z lies between x and y? Yes. But again, just see the wording. We were asked must. So this means this is not absolutely true. This can be true in some cases and this might not be true in some cases. So this is not an answer. Why? Because in this case, z does not lie between x and y. In this case, z lies between x and y. Because again, all the conditions are being true, that distance between x and y is greater than the distance between x and z. Absolutely right. Xy is less than 0. XYZ is greater than 0. All these things are absolutely true. But in this case, z is not between x and y. So this cannot be true. Like this can be true, but this must not be true in all the cases, right? Z not between x and y. Z does not lie between x and y. In this case, z does not lie between x and y, which is true. But in this case, z lies between x and y, right? So this is not necessarily true. So this doesn't have to be true in all the cases. So this is also not possible. We have to look for an answer which is always true, because there is the word must, right? Because in the question, the word must is used. So neither one nor two, that is also wrong, because that doesn't make any sense, right? Neither one nor two, because this is possible. One is possible, second is also possible in some cases. So this answer becomes absolutely wrong. Z is equals to xy. Now tell me one thing. We already told you that z is greater than 0, right? And xy is less than 0. So this is impossible, that positive is equals to negative. This can never happen. So this is also false. So the only answer you're left with is fifth option, which is none of the above. I hope this is clear.